the DigiPodcast, Digital Trends in Supply Chain Management.
Hello and welcome to our DigiPodcast. I'm Thomas Holzner from Siemens SCM DigiNetwork with the DigiPodcast, a podcast on digital and innovative topics for procurement in the future. Digitalization is becoming increasingly important for every company. At Siemens in particular, digitalization is a fundamental element for success. But how is digitalization practiced at Siemens Supply Chain Management? What do we focus on? The aspect of digital transformation and innovation is particularly close to our hearts. In our podcast, we highlight different aspects and share best practices with various digital experts and listen to their stories. Who doesn't know them? Talk shows in which guests discuss with the moderator about a specific topic. Have you ever thought about how this actually works and what technical requirements are today needed for that? That's exactly what I would like to discuss today in our DigiPodcast with my guest Daniel Liebkies. Hello and welcome, Daniel.
Hi Thomas, and thank you for your invitation.
Daniel, you're a member of the SCM DigiNetwork since the very beginning, and I would consider you as our technical mastermind. And I can remember quite well, before COVID-19, we started in a very early phase to test Microsoft Teams with private email addresses, and this helped us a lot for COVID-19. But what is your role now, today?
I am part of the DigiOffice team at Siemens Supply Chain Management, where we are orchestrating the DigiNetwork. And I am together with some colleagues from the business driving some of our community groups, like the Mendix, the XR or the Logistics Community Group. And I'm part of the Digital Mind core and moderator team. I think you heard about it in another webcast. And that's why we're here today. I'm producing the DigiSofas and a lot of other virtual conferences.
Yeah, so first of all, what is the DigiSofa?
Well, from technical perspective, the DigiSofa is a pretty simple webcast format where the moderators discuss with their guests about various topics. Maybe a bit like we're doing here, but just added by a video. So it's a TV show, like a talk show, like you know it from television.
If it's like a talk show, what's so special about the DigiSofa?
Yeah, the special at the DigiSofa is when we created it, we wanted to create an interactive and informative communication format, which is unscripted and where every viewer easily could ask questions in a relaxed atmosphere. So the questions are unfiltered and public, so that you really have your word as viewer, and that was something totally new at Siemens. So looking back to 2017 when we started, it was really an experiment.
So another successful experiment by the DigiNetwork, because when I look at the Siemens setup at the moment, I think different colleagues successfully copied this format with this unscripted or unplugged or real one. And if you consider this, it sounds very expensive and complex. So how do you manage this production?
Well, at that time, it normally would have been, yes. Normally, we would have had to book an agency that would have produced the webcast for us. But since we're in the DigiNetwork, and the DigiNetwork now and then is a place to experiment, we started to create it on our own. And therefore, we started with a brand new Siemens self-service called MyTV to produce our webcasts simply by our own. Yeah, and since we did it in the self-service, we were able to pass on some functionality, and that allowed us to produce the DigiSofa much cheaper than it was usual at that time. Yeah. And then additionally, together with the Siemens Idea Company, where I was one of the founding members, we created the virtual event platform that allowed us to combine existing services like this MyTV infrastructure platform and the internal social media platforms, really to combine them with each other to provide a video and chat functionality for our viewers.
I remember quite well, I think it was in 2017 when we said, okay, we would like to have also to a platform to communicate and to integrate people. And I think what you did was great with this interaction with the social media platform. And I remember quite well, at that time you have been factor 10 cheaper than typical webcast. And without this, say, huge difference regarding costs, we wouldn't have been able as the DigiNetwork to go live with the DigiSofa. So factor 10 cheaper, is quality of a DigiSofa also the factor 10 less good than conventional webcast?
Of course not. I would say we have an 80% solution. I think that fits.
What means 80%? So we have a VGA resolution and we have mono pseudo hi-fi sound system like a tin box, or what is 80%? What are you delivering?
From technical perspective, we are creating in full HD and also stereo. I think what we, for example, do not have are some highly professional camera wagons where we can fly with a camera through a studio. That are the differences. So, and that's also the reason why we said I think some of these functionality we do not need for these kind of internal webcasts, and therefore it's not necessary to produce it with an external agency, for example.
It was an interesting example with the flying camera. This means how many people did you use in the past for a physical DigiSofa, and how many people do you need for a virtual DigiSofa? Because you successfully migrated in the meantime.
Yeah. Before COVID, when we were in our studio, we usually were 2 people who produced such a webcast, one at the direction for the picture and one for somehow moving and controlling the camera or the cameras. Meanwhile, when we are in the virtual setup, when all our guests are sitting in front of their home office cameras, we can produce it with only one person.
Now I understand why it's much, much, much cheaper with the same level of technical quality that professional webcasts. So thanks for this. And what is the future of the DigiSofa from your point of view?
Well, we already started successful with our external approach. So we now went external with the DigiSofa, and also there the relaxed atmosphere was one of the core parts of the positive feedback and the open discussions and the open question and answer that can take place with this format.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. So last but not least, my favorite question, and you get 60 seconds to explain to the audience, who is Daniel?
Who am I? Well, I started in 2004 at Siemens with my apprenticeship. And I have a IT background, that's my technical background. And since 2010, I'm at supply chain management. And especially in the last few years, I really had the great chance and opportunity to drive digitalization inside SCM, starting with the idea company, also with our hybrid hackathon in 2017 and our Futureland in 2018. And yes, now my focus is on the DigiNetwork and on the topics already mentioned in the introduction. And from private perspective, I have a now almost 6-month-old son, and therefore I really love the home office situation as it is at the moment, to be honest.
Thanks, Daniel. It's not about me, it's about you, and that are your insights. And especially, I think, congratulations to the son. So, for the outside world, I hope you enjoyed our episode of this DigiPodcast. If you have questions or want to find out more information about the SCM DigiNetwork, reach out to our internet page, siemens.com/DigiNetwork. I'm looking forward to having you as a listener at our next episode. Yours, Thomas Holzner, and goodbye.
The DigiPodcast, Digital Trends in Supply Chain Management.